Hello and welcome to Mandibil. I bumbled into on Facebook or Twitter into what is called the Gamblers Fallacy, and I just sort of my mind connected a few dots into comparing it to Stefan Molyneux's approach and appeal in the recent videos I have of his that I deconstructed, which is also about certainty, knowledge, reality, and how to approach that, right? And the gambler's fallacy, maybe I should start with that, right? It's it's about an event compared to a series of events, right? And it might take a little time for me to explain this because it's sort of a possibly a notoriously difficult one. I'm not sure it is that difficult if you understand it correctly, but if you have a coin and you flip the coin, right, then it's heads or tails, as I think it's called, right? And there's you know it's sort of a 50-50 scenario, right? The mathematically or sort of a what's it called, combinatorics, I think the exercise or the particular mathematical exercise is called combinatorics. No, that's how many ways to do it. The combinatorics of flipping a coin is two because there are only two ways it can end up. Then what's it called, the chance of it happening, then if there are two, well, and they're equal, then there's no reason to think that a coin is symmetric and it lands in a certain way. It's sort of either heads or tails, and if you do it enough times, you will approach a 50-50 balancing of the two kinds of events with this coin, right? So that's why flipping a coin is sort of 50-50. There's a 50% chance it's his heads, and there's 50% chance it's his tails if there's nothing about the coin that is, fake, or a fake gambling coin or whatever, right? Something like that. Okay, so the gambler's fallacy is that there's a difference between the likelihood of a one incident of this sort of coin flip and a set of these kinds of coin flips, right? And you have to multiply the likelihood in a series of events of the same event, right? If you're flipping a coin two times, what is the likelihood? How many combinations can you have? You can have two heads, you can have two tails, you can have head and tails and heads, right? So there is four combinations of scenarios in two coin tosses, right? If you are flipping the coin three times, then there's heads, tail, heads, tail, head, and so on, right? And the system in that is each time you flip the same coin or the same object, you multiply the combinations, right? There are two combinations each time. There's 2 times 2. If there are two coin tosses, is 2 times 2 times 2. If there are 3 coin tosses and 4 coin tosses, so it's 2 to the power of the number of coin tosses. So if there are 7 coin tosses, the number of combinations is 2 to 7, right? I think I said 7 coin tosses, right? So 7 coin tosses is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, 7 times, right? So it's, if 7 coin tosses, right, is 2, 4, 8, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, and 128. So there are 128 combinations of ways that these 7 coin tosses can appear. If you say, the first time it was heads, then it was tails, then it was tails, then it was tails, then it was heads, then it was tails, it was heads, right? And these 7 combinations can become combined in 128 different ways. Now, in this set of 7 events, right, if you're picking one particular combination of these 7, right, there's only 1 out of 128 chance that this is the series you're going to have, right? So if you're having a like heads 7 times, there's only 1 in 120 times you're doing these 7 events, right? If you're doing 7 events 128 times, one of them, those times, sort of mathematically is going to say there should be one, right? There should be one of those who are 7 heads, or was it tails, right? But let's say 7 heads, right? If you do those 7 coin tosses 128 times, then one of them will be complete heads and complete tails, or whatever combinations of those 7 binary coin tosses, right? So, but now we're getting to the fallacy, right? Each time you do this coin toss, it's still 50-50. If there's if you do a coin toss and it hits, right? So fine, that was heads. Okay, the next one, there's still a 50-50 chance that it's going to be heads, right? And the next time there's still 50-50 chance that it's going to be heads. And next time it's going to be heads, there's still 50-50. But that is heads 7 times in a row, right? Then you need to multiply these combinations together, and then it's 1 in 128 that is going to be 7 heads in a row. You get the point? Each time it's 50-50, but the combination of them is a 1 in 28 if you need, for instance, 7 heads in a row, right? So if I could get to the point is, if you have done 6 heads in a row, there's still 50-50 chance that you're going to get heads the next time, right? But the fallacy is that you might think it's very unlikely that I'm going to get heads the next time because I had 6 heads in a row. That's the fallacy. There's a fallacy in saying, because I had 6 heads in a row, it's so extremely unlikely that I should get the 7th head, right? No, it's actually 50-50 chance that you're going to get the next head also, right? If you have 6 heads in a row, which is sort of 1 to the 64th chance, right? That's 1 in 64. Then you still have 50-50 left to the next one, right? Now, if the point is what I am, the fallacy is that you think that it's unlikely that you're going to get the next head, right? But it's still 50-50 because that's a coin toss. It's still a coin toss, right? So if we transform or transpose that into the thinking of Stefan Molyneux, which is because there have been coin tosses that is heads, and I've never seen a tail coin toss. It's going to be head coin tosses all the way in the future. That's his logic in claiming that reality is 100%, right? He has only seen heads coin tosses and no tail coin tosses, right? You could say this is a very particular, very strange scenario, but he's making the fallacious deduction. I'm not sure that inference maybe is a better term, right? That because he has never seen a tail coin toss, there is not going to be a tail coin toss in the future. And because there are only 2 choices, it's going to be head choices, tosses all the way in the future. That's a fallacious argument, right? Just because something has been the case in the future, it doesn't mean it's going to be something particular in the past. It doesn't mean it's going to be something particular in the future, right? I would like you to give this a thought, right? You can look up the Gamblers Fallacy, which is sort of a well-known. It's a psychological thing. If you sort of I remember back when it's actually an interesting comparison. that the gambler's fallacy can be a little dangerous, right? In certain scenarios, because when I was a child, close to us lived a sort of a very sort of working class family, right? They were not known to be the smartest people around, right? And the husband, he came to talk to my father sometimes. He was very sort of the sort of I have a good deal for you. He was a manipulative type, right? He was a strange person, right? And one of the things that I also sort of criticized my father for, giving this guy attention while he didn't give his own children too much attention, right? So that's just, side story, right? But this person, he had, or the couple of them, they had 6 girls and no sons, right? So, I can't tell you how they were thinking, but maybe there's a bit of the gambler's fallacy in there, right? It's like, okay, we've got a girl, right? Now we should have a boy. Because it's almost like if we have a girl, then the next has to be a boy, because it's 50-50, right? No. The 50-50 disappears with the first choice. Next time, it's also 50-50, right? So then they get another daughter, right? Then they have 2 daughters. Then they say, okay, next time, it's as good as certain that it's going to be a boy. No, it's still 50-50, right? Then they get another daughter. As far as I remember, they had 6 daughters, right? And then they sort of gave up and say, there's something not working here. We can only sort of, instead of saying, okay, we are happy to have 3 daughters, maybe he was very concerned, the guy, or maybe the woman, I don't know, of having a son, right? Possibly. He was very patriarchal and dominating to his wife, sort of. As far as I remember, she was a very submissive type, right? And sort of soft-spoken and hiding behind the curtains, almost like, right? So maybe he wanted to have a son, right? So he's sort of, okay, now I have 4 daughters. Next time it has to be a son, right? No, it's still 50-50, right? And maybe it might not be 50-50 completely, but I think there's a slightly higher chance that it's going to be a girl. But that's not significant in this context, right? So it's like, okay, after 6 daughters, right? It's like, we can't keep going with this, right? And I'm pretty confident that it might very likely be the case that they were suffering from the gambler's fallacy. Then, okay, we have 5 daughters now. The next time is absolutely certain that it's going to be a boy, right? No, it's still 50-50. Okay, so what do you think about this thinking about the gambler's fallacy and the thought of certainty and things like that in philosophical aspects compared to, Stefan Molyneux? And you might check out the recent deconstruction I have done about him, both his the debate I had with him and the further debates he had about metaphysics and the presentation of his essay, which holds thoughts around this subject of certainty and the reality being 100% and such, right? So, hope you enjoyed. Share, like, and subscribe. Join the Discord. Otherwise, have a nice day.